Tonight, a dangerous game.
What are you doing booking him for that? Hey! Hey!
Soccer under stress.
4 minutes? Where's he got 4 minutes from?
Are these managers risking their lives?
You had what we call a couplet, and that can cause a shock to your heart, and that can be dangerous.
Good evening. In tonight's programme, stress management. The Liverpool manager Gerard Houllier is only the latest soccer boss to be struck down by the incredible pressures of the Premier League. The question is, though, who might be next? Tonight we have a unique experiment to measure the dangers. We persuaded 2 top managers to have their heart, blood pressure and stress levels monitored during a vital league game. As Jonathan Maitland reports, the results are astonishing.
Match day. To you and me, it's just another game. Bolton versus Leicester. For the performers, though, it's much more than that. Both sides are facing relegation from the Premier League, which could cost them millions. But for 2 people in particular, there's a lot more at stake today than money.
Harry, we want the win today, come on!
He's the quickest, he's probably the best in the air, and he's probably the cutest.
Meet someone with one of the most pressurised jobs known to man. Sam Allardyce is Bolton's manager, and his entire career could be affected by what happens in the next 90 minutes.
While we're attacking, if we're putting pressure after pressure after pressure, make sure the back 4 or the back 2 concentrate on defending.
It's a big game for them as well as it is us, as you know that. Sam, I think, may wind them up that we're having a nightmare.
Leicester's boss, Dave Bassett, also knows that today is quite possibly the most important day of the season.
It's a defining moment for them, and it is for us. Today's a defining day.
It certainly is, and in more ways than one, because in a unique experiment, the Tonight programme is going to monitor the stress levels of both managers during the game to see if it's not just their careers which are at stake, but, and this is no exaggeration, their lives.
Oh, it does get times where you think, I must be mad doing this job, because you're criticised from every department. Everybody can do the job better than you, and after the game, everybody's telling you they'd have done this and they'd have done that.
But in terms of stress, how does it get to you? I mean, do you feel yourself palpitating, or is it a question of not sleeping?
No, there's times where I wake up, after a bad result, I might wake up and it's sort of there, and then there's other times where you go to bed and your adrenaline's flowing and you're thinking about what you've got to do and you haven't got to do.
And it's not just Dave that's affected. Back home, his wife Christine is getting anxious.
If you've won, you can't wait to get the newspapers, see what they've written about us, get the telly on, watch the goals again, and it's great fun. If you've lost, it's a damn nightmare. The stress side of football does worry me. It really does. You wonder what all that stress over all the years is having an effect on one's body. I hope, really and truthfully, I think he's fairly fit. He exercises. He diets really well. So I just hope that, he's okay, really.
Jordan! What we go, take your top off.
Those stresses are at the worst, I think, on a match day, and it isn't for me a day you particularly enjoy. I personally kick every ball for my players on the pitch for the 90 minutes, and at that time your stomach's churning inside, but you have to keep an external calmed outlook on the outside. If you see a cow say, yeah. It brings stress levels in the family term. I mean, I do have to sacrifice a lot of my family life, and I have 2 young grandchildren now that I'd like to see more of, but unfortunately the demands of the job doesn't let you do that.
First chance we're ever going to get to walk out onto a Premiership pitch, I should think.
That's right.
Dr. Dorian Dugmore, a specialist in cardiovascular fitness, will help us monitor the heart rates and blood pressure of our 2 managers. It's the first time such tests have been carried out during a match, and the results will be a warning to every manager in the game.
How useful will the data that we get from this afternoon be?
Oh, it'll be fantastic, because we'll have some unique data that actually shows us what's happening during the actual event itself. And that will be so vital to really planning then the best sorts of interventions and the best sorts of ways in which we can sort of help people cope with the stresses and strains of it. It'd be great.
What is it about the job in particular that makes it so stressful? Is it the kind of unremittingness of it all? Because you can't really switch off, can you?
I think it's the constant lash of pressure week in, week out, day in, day out. And I think the thing that's linked with that as well is the sort of reactions that the body has with that. You know, the sort of adrenaline that gets pumped around the body that can make the heart beat faster, make the blood pressure increase.
Sam is now being fitted with sensors so that his heart rate and blood pressure can be monitored constantly. Outside, meanwhile, the stadium is starting to fill up. And Dave is talking tactics while his players limber up.
When does the tension really start? Is it when the players come out on the pitch? Or when you wake up Saturday morning, it starts about then, but you try and relax at home. Well, certainly myself try to relax at home for as long as I can. Then in here and really just waiting for the final touches, seeing what Leicester's team's about, and the final talk with the lads. And when they go over the white line, it'll be down to them.
And I'll just monitor your blood pressure during the game, so you'll feel it go up every 10 or 12 minutes, and that will be recording your blood pressure, and then you'll feel it go down.
So where are you going to do that?
Are you coming back in here for a cup of tea after?
Yeah, I will. What, in a minute?
Yeah, just a quick team talk and then...
Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll come back in it, yeah.
When was the last time you wore something like that, Dave?
The wife was.
Ibiza 92.
Time for the players to go through their pre-match rituals. We're monitoring Sam's stress levels, and with just minutes to go before kick-off, his heart rate is already 40 beats per minute faster than normal. Same state of readiness, but different rituals. Dave's heart rate is also up, as he barks out a few last-minute instructions.
Rise it. We won't do the roll-back corner till the second half.
It's a lot more stressful now than it was when he first started 21 years ago. Then it was a lot more fun. Now it's just like your life depends on every single game. It's just those 3 points are so important. It's crazy, really.
Get a goal up, that's it. That'll do, 1-0.
Know when to slow the game down and when to quicken it up.
Come on, Jack. Come on. 3 points.
All the best, Andy. All the best. Don't let anything affect you. All the best, Seb. All the best, Jonah. All the best, mate.
Come on, Lee.
Right, this is it. The match starts any second now. We couldn't have picked a better day to do this experiment because both sides are in the relegation zone, so there's more than just 3 points at stake. Arguably, there's tens of millions of pounds worth of Premiership income riding on today's result, which is why the 20,000 odd fans here are going to be going through every single emotion known to man. But nobody is going to be suffering more over the next 2 hours than our two managers.
Their approach to this game couldn't be more different. Dave is a tracksuit man. He stands on the touchline and lives every kick, every pass and every tackle. Sam, on the other hand, is a suit and stand man. Even so, he's in constant touch with the bench.
Not got to anchor as much playing in the two.
Deansy! Dennis! Dennis! Get Dean! Den! Drop in! Dennis!
The game's first flashpoint. Leicester's Robbie Savage has been fouled by Bolton's Paul Warhouse. Sam's heart rate is now 90 beats per minute.
Going through my mind, I'd actually lost it a bit then. I thought what was going on was not right. And I was trying to get downstairs and thinking, well, Paul is obviously at the worst I thought going to get booked. And it was me coming down to complain, first of all, to the fourth official.
What are you doing booking him for that? Hey! Hey! What's he doing booking him and not Savage over there?
But it's actually worse than Sam fears. His player gets sent off.
Disgraceful. 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 Disgraceful, that. It's a f***ing disgrace. It's a f***ing disgrace, that. That's an absolute f***ing joke.
Down to 10 men, and the pressure's starting to build up for Sam.
4-3-2 for the time being.
Things are about to get even worse. Bolton go one down through an own goal. Scored by their star striker, Michael Ricketts. And then another Bolton player, Dean Holdsworth, gets into trouble, again for fouling Savage.
Muzzy, do you know how to do the near post out?
Less than 20 minutes into the game, and Bolton are now down to 9 men. Sam's heart rate is rising steadily. It's now 95 beats per minute. Dave makes a tough decision. He decides to take Savage off the pitch before the player finds himself in trouble.
Hey, sensible. Get yourself there. Hey, they'd only got you sent off. You'd have had you off.
25 minutes in, and it couldn't be more tense. And it all seems to be going Dave's way. Leicester score again.
We were 2-0 up and they were down to 9 men, and you're thinking we're in a very good position here to win this game.
Going from bad to worse, isn't it? An own goal and the bollock by the keeper.
Of course, there's enormous pressure because it made the stadium a hotbed. It was very volatile, it was uncomfortable, and everything was anti-Leicester. And it was going to be a long hour for us.
Am I going to explode? Am I going to try and stay calm? What am I going to do? And all those thoughts go rushing into your head in such a small space of time. It was about trying to keep calm and trying to think how the 9 men would best play against Leicester's 11, and how we could try and get back in the game. And fortunately for us, we scored a goal which unsettled Leicester just before half-time.
Half-time. Sam doesn't know it, but his heart rate has risen alarmingly. It's now 110 beats per minute, more than twice its normal rate. Even more worryingly, Dave's heart is showing signs of an irregular beat. After the break, what the manager said to the players...
And you give a mug a chance, he gets up sometimes and punches you on the hooter.
And what the doctor said to the manager.
It can cause a shock to your heart and put it in a situation where it beats out of control.
Welcome back. It's half-time in the Premier League game between Bolton and Leicester, and the two managers taking part in our unique experiment to measure their stress levels are midway through their weekly ordeal. But what is it doing to their health? They're about to find out.
I'm extremely glad you're irritated. You know, the game's there, all right, the 2 sending offs, all you've got to do is be sensible not to get booking or give free kicks away, and when we got a free kick, we let them get a goal. It's bloody nonsense, you know, as you say, you give a mug a chance, and you give a mug a chance, he gets up sometimes and punches you on the hooter. All you've got to do is be sensible. Scurry and Dennis don't get booked. Dennis, the goal, the free kicks come from one of your poxy square balls. You got caught out early on, and again that square ball. You know, you don't get cut out.
You've lost your cool. Never mind, alright, referee, crap, diabolical decision, but you lost your cool. You lost your cool. Play your way back into the game. You've already got 1 goal. What went on now is immaterial. What's happened now is guts, determination, and run your knackers off.
Come on, Ellie. Come on. They didn't seem quite in the right frame of mind, and I was getting a little bit frustrated because I didn't feel I was necessarily getting through to them, and I could sort of sense that perhaps we was going to be on the defensive rather than the attacking foot. And that was my concern, and it proved to be the case.
In the Bolton dressing room, news comes through that all their relegation rivals are winning. The pressure on the manager grows ever more intense.
All of the Buckets are winning now. Come on, we need a point out of this. Come on. Bit of a last bit.
I try to control my emotions on the outside and sort of be clear and positive in my instructions to the players, giving it quite forcefully as I generally do anyway. That's my nature. But inwardly, I was furious. I was disgusted with what I'd seen, and I felt really, really bad about the type of atmosphere that this game had turned into.
Come on, boys, come on!
Get in the feet, Den, get it!
In the second half, things start to go against Dave, off as well as on the pitch. It's not just his heart rate, which has now gone up to 120, but the fact that our monitors are detecting an irregular beat.
Charlie! Come here!
It's becoming a game of cat and mouse. Both managers are trying to outwit each other.
Bolton under substitution, replacing number 24, Anthony Barnes. Here's number 23, Jibril Diarra.
Then, just when you thought it couldn't get any more dramatic, things take a turn for the worse. For Dave, one of his players kicks the ball away to waste time.
Sending Muzzy off, kicking the ball away.
Who do we do now?
4-4-1, get Jonesy on, get Addy on.
Get Jonesy, where's Jonesy here? Jonesy! Yeah, 4-3-2. That's it.
Dave's heart is now beating at more than double its normal rate.
4-3-2.
Over the top! Over the top!
The game is almost up. There's just stoppage time left.
There were 4 minutes of added time.
4 minutes? Where's he got 4 minutes from?
A free kick for Bolton in the dying moments, but with his team 2-1 down, it looks like it's not going to be Sam's day. Then, with just seconds left, the equaliser. But at what cost? Sam's heart is now racing. It's reached 162 beats per minute. And Dave's heart rate is becoming increasingly irregular.
We can't help you when you've got those moments. You've got to stop the throw. It's in the final moment. You've got to make sure they don't get a crossing. You've got to get bodies in the way. You switch off and just leave it, and you leave it to chance, and that's what happens to you. You leave people speechless when it happens like that. There's no point in me having a heart attack, is there?
For Sam, the stress is starting all over again. Already he's thinking about the next game, and he expects his players to do the same.
Unless you've got a knock, unless you've got a problem, we meet at 6 o'clock on Monday. That's 2 days. That's not going home to the Midlands or anything like that, or b***ing off anywhere in your car and p***ing off down the motorways anywhere, or going out with your wife shopping or anything like that. None of that stuff. You're at home, you rest, you do your own discipline, you do your own warm down, and you make yourself fuel yourself up. There's a lot of people coughing and sniffing in here. Alright, so you get yourself home, you get in your home, and you stay in your home. Well done, magnificent effort, different class. Well done, lad. Well done.
Game over and a point for each side. But now for the results that really matter. Sam's normal heart rate is 46, but during the match it more than tripled to 162. His normal blood pressure is 130. During the match it peaked at 190. This means that his vital signs were the same as if he'd worked out to the point of exhaustion, according to our expert, potentially dangerous.
When Bolton hit the post and nearly scored, and then followed very, very shortly by the fact that actually Bolton do score, your heart rate hits its peak at around 162 beats a minute, and your blood pressure goes close to 190 millimetres of mercury. And that really is a build-up of crescendo pressure towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I thought actually that huge increase there as shown on the graph would have perhaps happened earlier when the two send-ins off happened in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. At that particular time, I'd lost my cool a little bit then. And
yeah, sometimes when you see a person really getting irate and blowing the top, you think there the person's blood pressure will be through the roof, and sometimes it's not. The bottom line is that, yeah, risk will increase, and you stand more of a chance of having damage to your coronary arteries and having damage to your heart if you don't keep yourself in good shape.
Dave's normal heart rate is 55 beats per minute, but during the match it more than doubled to 120. His blood pressure went from 110 to 190. The verdict? His irregular heartbeat means he's risking serious heart problems.
Around half full was when you had a goal disallowed, and as it was sent off.
Yep.
You had what we called a couplet. And a couplet is a pair of irregular heartbeats occurring in your heart's rhythm. The concern with these irregular heartbeats, particularly when they come in pairs or in threes or in runs, is that one of them could land on a part of the heart cycle when it should be relaxing and filling, and cause it to go into a sort of spasm, even fibrillate, and that can be dangerous. It can cause a shock to your heart and put it in a situation where it beats out of control.
I'm not too worried. I think that's the way life goes on. I'm doing something. If the stress was telling me, look, you've got a serious problem, and a surgeon was telling me, oh, this is no good for you and you ought to pack up, then obviously I've got to sit down and my wife would have something to say about that.
the level of emotion that you went through in that particular game, I don't think you could have picked any better game than that to get the lows and the absolute highs.
There are times where perhaps managers might reach a burnout situation, and I've always said, I'm 57, 58 this year, I think there will come a time where perhaps I think, well, I've had enough of this.
Those levels of stress are putting you at risk, but they can be managed, and I think that I've got an obligation to myself and my family that I must manage those levels of stress I come under by looking after myself an awful lot better.
It's only a game of football at the end of the day, and as much as I love it and people enjoy it, I'm not putting my life on the line.
Jonathan Maitland reporting. And we've passed the findings of our tests on to the League Managers Association, who say they'll be introducing a new fitness scheme for managers in conjunction with Dr. Dorian Dugmore, who you saw in our film just now. Coming up on Thursday's edition of Tonight, the trouble with Harry. Was Prince Harry's dalliance with drugs and drink just normal, high-spirited teenage behavior, or a sign of something more serious? That's Harry, the Teenage Prince, on Thursday at 7:30 on ITV1. But that's all from us tonight. From all of us here, good night, and thank you for watching.